What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Short and Sweet Session. Tonight is a very, very special night, wherever you are. I'm actually, for the first time out of Berlin. I was supposed to be in Berlin, but I can gladly say that it was my first time traveling outside of Berlin to visit my dear parents and family in my hometown, Copenhagen, the capital of Denmark. So for those of you who've been following me, I'm sitting in a totally different environment. So if there's anything with the audio or visuals, please let me know in the comments, but hopefully this should run smoothly. So if you guys are ready for another inspirational moments here at the Short and Sweet Session, let's roll the intro.
Hailing from Brooklyn, New York, Inaya Day started singing in church before attending the prestigious LaGuardia High School. But a change in her trajectory came while living in Germany with the release of her first 3 house singles. Keep pushing.
Keep pushing on, things are gonna get better, it won't take long.
Hold your head up high. And Horny, which championed the charts and are now worldwide classics. We'll be talking about her extensive career as an artist, writer, producer, and entrepreneur. In fact, she does it all, with credits that include working with the king of pop, Diddy, and Missy Elliott. We'll take you through her path to success, from being the understudy of Stephanie Mills in The Wiz to being named one of Billboard's greatest of all time top dance club artists. Next.
Yes, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me show some love and welcome to the short and sweet session, the one and only from Brooklyn, New York, Miss Inaya Day. You're on. Yes. Hold on.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Inaya Day. I need to give you like a real New York intro. Wait, what is that? What is it? No, that's not the one. No, it's the DJ horn. That's the one. Whoop. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here at the Short and Sweet Session. What I love about this series is that we get to travel and be in different places of the world. Last week we were in Orange County, California, and now we're back in another hometown of mine, your hometown, New York City. How are you doing, and how you've been keeping up the last 3 crazy months? And how is Inaya Day in New York City?
Thank God I'm great. No complaints. I've been in here recording and putting out new music. I have songs in the charts here and in the UK. And even as we sit in our homes, I've suffered some losses and some too still sick. But other than that, we're pushing through.
Keep pushing on. That's one of your anthems.
Indeed.
Before we go into you becoming such a legendary voice in house music, you didn't see this because you are talking to me through Skype, but the people out there saw a montage, my little homage and montage of Miss Inaya Day, where I explained that hailing from Brooklyn, New York, she started singing by the age of 4 in church. Did you always, like the first time I heard you and when I later on met you in New York City through Ashford and Simpson at the Sugar Bar, I've always seen you as such a confident performer, a sweetheart, but a fierce, powerful performer. Did you always have this confidence? Like, where did it start at the age of 4? Did you already have it at that time, singing in church?
I'm lucky and blessed that I am surrounded by a family of musical people. Mm-hmm. So I kind of thought that everybody could sing. So when I encountered people when I was in the little kids choir and they couldn't sing, I was astonished. I didn't understand why they would not just sing the right notes. I was like, why are you guys doing that?
Oh, bless, bless.
So I hated it. And I was like, I don't want to sing with that choir anymore. But my mother made me.
Yeah.
I guess it helped to shape and strengthen my chords. I mean, little did I know then, you know? So yeah, I started in church and I still sing in church and went on to musical theater and did it here, of course, in New York, toured, and then wound up in Europe. And that's when I started doing, started releasing house music. I'd been recording demos or whatever, but I had never released it because I was heavy into hip hop and R&B. You know, I was doing songs with Latifah and MC Light, Big Daddy Kane, all of that. And
legends.
You know, you don't, at that time, you couldn't really mix the genres. And I was with Epic Records and for R&B. So I was doing Little Shop of Horrors in Germany. As you know, it's called Der kleine Horrorladen.
Ah!
And I was doing
come through, German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multilingual. But yeah, so we were doing Little Shop, and the director, who is a friend of mine, Yilmaz, he said that I should meet his friend Boris, and told Boris that he should meet his friend Inaya, and we were like, yeah. So eventually I get on a train, ride 4 hours to Hanover. I meet Musti, Boris, and Errol, and Errol gives me some direction on what they want the subject matter to be. And I go in the booth and I start singing different lines until I got to keep pushing on, you know, and then they were like, yeah. So I kept going with that. And that's why it sounds churchy, because I was singing it from the top of my head. Like, you know, though the mountains seem too high and the valley low, that's total gospel. So that's what I did. Yeah. So a lot of it is repeated because I was trying to think of the next phrase I was going to throw in there. So it wound up being, here we are 25 years later, and it's a classic. Adidas licensed it. You can see it with Foot Locker. They played it during the Grammys or the Super Bowl. I can't remember which. But and it's been all over the place 25 years later. And Dua Lipa, the pop artist Dua Lipa, re-recorded it. And that's when we licensed it to Foot Locker and Adidas.
So this Keep Pushing On has a life of its own that just... Yes. I mean, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on, because when I started this series, for the new people out there who've just been tuning in, I started this series a few weeks ago during the height of the lockdown as a way to connect with my friends and colleagues, artist friends, to keep ourselves busy and inspired. But throughout the past few weeks, I really got to the core and the nugget of why I wanted to do this, which is that I wanted to tap into the minds of people that I admire and am inspired by, and to speak to them of how they found the key to their success. And I wanted you particularly because you've inspired me. I'd never told you this, but during the recording of my very first album, more than 20 years ago, for Virgin Records, I thought at that time I was in the studio, and at that time I thought it was going to be like an R&B record, very babyface Tony Braxton. But my co-producer at that time, shout out Eric Static, he played me Hold Your Head Up High. And that, among Hold Your Head Up High and another classic from our friends Louis Vega and India, those were the two songs that were constantly on repeat. And little did I know that a few months later, when I moved to New York, I would meet you, sweetheart you, at the Sugar Bar, saying, "Hey, what's up, Andy? How you doing?" We're walking up the stairs, going to the Cat Lounge. But I was so inspired by you, by the empowering message you had, and the powerful vocals the vocal performance that is just amazing, that has inspired not only myself, but I know a lot of people you've inspired. So I just wanted to officially give you this homage, because this song and later on your catalog is just keeps inspiring me, and your journey just keeps inspiring me. So what was Hold Your Head Up High? What does this song mean to you? Because I could imagine it's another gospel-influenced lyric. You must have... You must have gone through some
Yes,
stuff
and
to inspire people to hold their heads up
right.
high.
Yes, I was trying not to interrupt because we'll clip, but I wanted to thank you for that. That was amazing. I was like, wow, I have to live up to all that Andy
You're
said.
already doing it. She's already doing it.
Well, thank you. Um, Hold Your Head Up High. We had to, well, you know, we put the song out, we put Keep Pushing out, and it was actually to me a demo,
Hmm.
and then it blew up. And they said, well, young lady, you have a hit on your hands. We have to do a follow up. I
Mm.
was like, huh?
Oh.
So we Errol and I sat down next to each other. This time we wrote down what we wanted to say.
Hmm.
And he said, what I'll do is I'll write a verse and you write a verse
Mm.
and we'll just put them together. And he said, I'm positive that they'll match. I said, bet. And we had already come up with the hook. Hold your head up high, shine
Yes.
so bright.
Yeah.
So we, and the bass line is similar to
Hmm.
Keep Pushing so
Hmm.
that they would know it's from the same entity.
It was your
So
sound.
we sat there. Yeah, and we did our verses, and he sang his to me. I sang mine to him, and we were like, "Whoa!" So I took them in, and I just recorded them like that. And we were saying that we wanted to write lyrics that would be universally accepted and universally understood, like simple words,
Hmm.
not going too far with the phrases and idioms.
Mm.
You may be, well, tribulation is kind of, but most people can dig what that is.
Yeah.
Feeling pain, out of work, ain't got no home. We wanted it to be um, relatable. So that's how we wrote that. And we wanted it to be stand the test of time. Things like that will always apply. There will
Absolutely.
always be turmoil, tribulation. There will always be times that you're down on your luck, or someone is down on their luck and they may be needing a lift. And you can say, well, this song is an encouraging song. Why don't you listen to this music? We wanted something that would stand the test of time and that everyone could feel.
Hmm.
And that's how we came up with Hold Your Head Up High.
Amazing, amazing story. I think it's time to play. You have actually, because guys, children out there, take notes. Miss Inaya Day is working nonstop. Like most people have one single out, but this lady has many singles out. I want to play. I want to play a few of your current songs as well as some of your classics that I love. But one of the newer songs is a song called "People of the World."
Yes.
Which maybe you would like to just share a few thoughts and words about this song. I think it goes hand in hand with what you just spoke about with Hold Your Head Up High, this thing about being a voice of inspiration to the world. And God knows we need that more than ever nowadays, right?
Yes, indeed. And I wrote People of the World actually 2 or 3 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
2016, something like that. And Guy Shyman of Israel, he said, Inaya, do you have anything that any acapellas or anything that you can send me to produce and we can put out another record? I said, sure. And I grabbed People of the World. He said, oh my God, I love this song. And he produced a track and I went in and sang it one more time so I could sing it to his vibe.
Mm,
And I wrote that song because I'm like, the one thing we can all do together that again is universal is sing and make
absolutely.
music. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
is really the universal language because I've been in other countries and I've sung my songs. They didn't understand a word I was saying, but they felt it.
they felt
So
it.
I figured, if the people of the world would sing out, if everybody sang together, we
Hmm.
wouldn't be fighting each other. So
Mm,
that's what I was thinking. And that sometimes it seems impossible. That's why I said we've done so much for so long with so little that we can do anything.
hmm.
And it's not a riddle. We've
Mm.
done it. We've been doing it. So if we would all just pull together and rock it out, we could. And that's why I wrote that song.
Amen. Let's have a listen to People of the World. Here we go, guys.
Come on.
Yes, ma'am. Let the people of the world sing. Amen. Latest track from Miss Inaya Day. Before we talk more about house music, I want to rewind a little bit and have you take us through your musical theater days, because for those of you who don't know, Miss Inaya Day was part of a legendary piece called The Wiz, The Revival. The Revival. Was that right, Miss Inaya Day?
Yes, because
she's
I'm not old enough to have been in the original.
I made a mental note. Make sure you say The Revival, because I've seen Miss Inaya
Good
Day
man. Good man.
explain herself. It's like, guys, The Revival. All right. But how was it for you being such you're always a youngin' to me, but like you look like a youngin', but how was it for you being a youngin' at that time, understudying Miss Stephanie Mills in The Wiz, The Revival? How was that experience for you coming up through that experience?
Well, it was literally a child's dream come true. When I was a little kid, I actually saw the last bit of The Wiz with Stephanie Mills on Broadway. My mother took me to see it, and I was a little kid. And I remember looking up at her, and I was like, Ma, I want to be in The Wiz. And she was like, maybe one day. She don't laugh, but she calls me Stinky. So
Oh,
so she goes, one day maybe you will, Stinky. You never know what the Lord has in store.
wow.
And I say, yeah, even if I'm Stephanie Mills' understudy.
Oh, wow.
Now, what does a little kid know about being somebody's understudy? But I surely said that. And then years later, fast forward to the 90s, the early 90s, 1992 and 93, they did a revival with the remainder of the surviving cast.
Okay.
So I got to be with most of the original people. Andre DeShields as the Wiz, Stephanie Mills as Dorothy, the people who created these roles on Broadway. I got to be with them, and that was such an honor. And I didn't even know that I was auditioning when I auditioned, because George Faison, the Tony Award-winning choreographer for the Wiz, was also directing. Yes, he directed and choreographed the revival. And you know how George is. He had me come over. He goes, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, oh, nothing much. Well, can you come over here and sing Home and Be a Lion? And I thought that was an odd request. So I was like, yeah. So I go to his house, and Tony, I can't think of his last name right now, but Tony's on the keyboard, and he's like, hello, Miss Inaya, da, 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 da. And I'm like, hi. And I smelled the setup, because I know George.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, sing Home. I was like, okay. So I stood there, just George in the room besides Tony on keys, and sang Home full out, and then sang Be a Lion. And he said, oh no, and you're performing and all that. No, I have to make a phone call. And he got up. He got up and called Theater Under the Stars, who were doing our summer stock production, I believe. Or I don't know if they did the whole thing. I can't remember. Yeah, I think they did the whole thing. He called them and said, he has the understudy or whatever, but they were looking at someone else. He said, well, y'all come over here and hear this child singing. You tell her she ain't got the gig. And didn't get it. I was like, what is he talking about? What is he concocting, Yeah. And little did I know, I was auditioning to be Stephanie Mills' understudy. Like a week later, I get a package in the mail, big, thick manila envelope. And it says, Theater Under the Stars. I'm like, what? So I open it, because I'm already in musical theater, but I didn't audition for Theater Under the Stars. I didn't know who they were at the time, because I wasn't an equity member at the time. I was doing, independent theater. And so I open it, and it says, so The Wiz. I said, huh? So I called Victor Cook, and I said, Vic, do you know anything about this? George had me singing Wiz songs, and now I got this package. He said, he didn't tell you, Dorothy, you're understudying Stephanie Mills thing. And I said, ooh, I
Wow.
had no idea.
Mm.
So then, that's how that happened with the whole Wiz situation. And I'm so glad that I did it because not only was it one of the best experiences in my life, I learned so much from those veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Those were difficult times because, whereas I was so used to sailing and being the belle of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
these people were veterans and tried and true.
Yeah.
And someone told me, Stephanie's never out. You'll never get a chance to go on. So I
Mm.
was like, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't invest in rehearsing the blocking and the book.
Yeah.
I knew all the songs. So one day we had a rehearsal in Boston and there was a snowstorm. Stephanie Mills couldn't fly in right away for the big dress rehearsal, the
Whoa.
tech rehearsal. And they said, Inaya, you're on. I was like, huh? So I had to do this rehearsal with all of the principal actors.
Mm-hmm.
And George was so fierce that I got to, there is a place we'll go. He said, cut. Thank you. We all know you can sing this thing. Moving on. I was like, oh. So when we got to the lines and the blocking,
Mm-hmm.
I was clueless. I knew some of it,
Mm-hmm.
but not like I was prepared to do a show.
Yeah.
So the principals laughed, everybody, and that was the first time in my life I've been laughed at.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
it made me understand that nobody is above preparation. Nobody is above rehearsal.
Yeah.
And I knew this. I was always able to just make it pop and do it well.
Yeah.
But this was another animal. And I was
Absolutely.
with a whole other caliber of people. And it pulled me up. Even when I responded, when we were acting, it made me act better. Watching Andre DeShields, even when I wasn't on, made me act better.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Stephanie do the role with such ease as if it were looking at the back of her hand made me do better.
Yeah.
So it was one of the hardest but one of the greatest experiences in my life, and I gained not only cast members but a family. We still stay in touch, we still gather, and George is like our dad.
Yeah. I found through the vaults of Miss Inaya Day, I found this video. For those of you guys who haven't heard Miss Inaya Day live sing this iconic song, this is just a little snippet of you clicking your heels and singing Home. All right, guys, Miss Inaya Day and a song from The Wiz. Standing ovation for Miss Inaya Day. That was from Summer Stage, you singing Home. Correct me if I'm...
That's from The Wiz is 40. The Wiz had turned 40.
Yep.
And we celebrated it by doing snippets of the show at Summerstock, Central Park and in Harlem.
Yes, ma'am. There was like you hitting that last note, and the lens was blocked because of standing ovation. People were just like standing up. You can't see what we're seeing, but it was like, yes, we get it. Yes, ma'am. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard you say something about you already explained that you learned so many things from working with such a veteran cast, and they put you, they tightened you up through this experience. But I recall you saying somewhere that you learned a very valuable business lesson from Stephanie Mills. Is that correct? Something about always being on top of your signing when you sign contracts and stuff like that. And one thing that I admire about you is that when I see you from afar, not only are you you're a prolific writer, you're a very effective artist, constantly pushing new content out there, but you can see from people who know their business or else they wouldn't be doing it. That's why you see a lot of artists not actually, some suddenly they fall off the radar. But what I admire about you is that you seem to be an artist totally on top of your game in terms of the business. So I don't know if this was something you learned that Stephanie Mills said to you that you had to be aware of, or maybe you could share something about that in terms of your business know-how.
Yeah, I've been blessed to be surrounded by people who pour knowledge into me and set good examples that they themselves live by. Not only that, I had, by the time, I don't remember what age, but my attorney, my entertainment attorney, has been my attorney since I was a kid. And shout out to Wayne Rooks.
Shout out.
Yeah, he's been my attorney since I was a kid. He's handled my musical theater stuff, voiceover stuff, everything, records. And what he's always done is, here, this is the contract. You read it and I'll read it. You mark it up and I'll mark it up, and then we'll discuss. He always took me to task and didn't just do everything for me. He actually taught me. And a lot of people wouldn't do that. They would just do it and be like, okay, it's good to sign. Just trust me.
Yeah.
But he made sure that I knew what I was doing with or without him. And it got to the point where people would send me contracts. I would go through the contracts. I would mark them up, redline them, and then send them back to Wayne and say, Wayne, what do you think of this? And he would email it back to me and say, taught you well, good to sign.
Yeah.
So now I can do other people's contracts because I've gotten pretty good at it over the years since he's made me do it since I was a teenager.
Yes, ma'am. And being such on top of your knowledge in terms of your work as a writer, I want to bring in an oldie but a goodie, because and also I want to mention how prolific you've been as a writer for other projects. As I mentioned in the intro, I said that you also worked with the King of Pop, Diddy, and projects with Missy Elliott. I want to play like a little snippet of your remix of Gossip Folk. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Let's hear this and then we talk about it. Here we go.
When I pull up in my whip, bitches wanna talk shit. I'm driving, I'm gliding, I'm sliding these motherfuckers' ass. Did you see it? I'm gripping these girls. Skirt, did you heard? I love those, my brothers, my pearls. I fly like a bird. Chicken heads on the ground. Who you tryna put down? Now you ain't getting loud. Better calm down before I smack your ass down. I need my drum, bass, hi-hat. I need my snare, strings, horn. Yes, I need my Tim sound. Right, left. Is it, look here. You know about the gossip folk that did the okey doke, and Missy had to smoke them 'cause she's dope, super dope, and she is fly, so super fly. I don't go out.
Yes, ma'am. See, that's children. That's the reason why whatever project you are on, it's important to try to get your songwriting credits on this, because a big record with Missy Elliott. For the people out there who are not working in this business, they're like, how do you even end up on a track with Missy Elliott? How does it work?
It can go a lot of ways. With Missy Elliott and Timbaland and Magoo, I think it was Warner Europe, WIA. I think they came to Musti and asked him for a remix. Musti then came to me. So when I met with the officials at WIA, they congratulated me and loved what I had written, because they gave me autonomy, let me create a hook and then sing it myself. So it was really cool that they let me do that. And the same with Michael Jackson. He sent his the song Ghost hadn't even been finished yet. Like, he's like mumbling through it and everything, and he just let me create all the background vocals that I wanted, and some parts I mimicked him, and he kept everything that I did. So that was a blessing. And I did all of this from Germany, working with the people at Peppermint Jam at the time, because I was out there a lot. I lived in Germany from 1995 until the year 2000. So we got a lot of work done as a team at the time. The Queen Latifah thing, it's separate. It was actually, everybody thinks that she'll be rapping and I was singing. Actually, it's a ballad and we're doing a duet. And it's on her Order in the Court album. You know, the one with the fire coming out of her head?
Yes.
It's on that album. And it's a duet that Mary Brown had written. And it's called What You Gonna Do.
What You Gonna Do.
So that came about another way. Latifah asked me herself to do that. So it can come many different ways, especially now with social media. I get a lot of requests in my inboxes at Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Greg Gould, we met on Instagram. He inboxed me, I love your music. And everything. Fancy doing a duet with me?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. And we're going to hear more about that later at the end of the show.
Yes.
That song, yeah. So it works. So, I mean, there's nothing, we're not separate. We're only a one DM away from each other, basically. And one DM away from collaborating with people around the globe, sitting in a totally different country because of technology. And I love it. That's how you've been keeping yourself busy and always constantly working with new people, I assume.
Well, no, that's not the only way. I mean, that's one of the ways. People contact your camp, your management, your attorneys. You know, it can come through other producers, and they go, my mate is doing a record, and it can come any kind of way. And I'm with different agencies, like for my jingle production. You know, I used to be with Kemper Musik out in Düsseldorf. I constantly made television jingles, and I did that. I met Ralph Kemper, through a friend, Dennis Legree, who is a musical theater baby as well. And he's like a big brother to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to
So
Dennis.
that's how I met him. So there are always different ways to link up with people, but the social media angle is very easy. You just go right to the person, and if they want to send you to their management, cool. At least you get right to their management, and you don't have to go through a label and all that stuff to get to the manager to get an okay from the art. You know, so it's work can pour in from a lot of different avenues.
And one of the ways of getting a number 4 on the charts hits is staying busy, like Miss Inaya Day, which brings me to this next current song that you have out at the moment, called Gotta Have.
Gotta have.
Okay, children, are you ready for some more house music? Here is Gotta Have.
You got to have love, hope, peace, music in your body.
Yes, ma'am. Gotta have, always inspirational and uplifting from Miss Inaya Day. I would like to touch on the Godfather of House. In the intro, I played a snippet of one of my favorite joints from you, Inaya Day and Frankie Knuckles. Let's Stay Home. And I would love for you to just share some, like, how did the collaboration with Frankie Knuckles come about, and how was it working with the Godfather of house music?
It was a rapture and joy. Frankie was like a big brother to me. Our birthdays were one day apart, and the last birthday he celebrated, we actually did together. We celebrated together in Chicago at an event that he was doing. Unfortunately, he couldn't play that night because he wasn't feeling well, but we got to hang out upstairs and had a cake with both our faces on it and everything like that. But I had known him for many years and we never collaborated. So a certain DJ in in Germany, shall remain nameless, said he was going to produce my album.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was going to produce my album. See, I've never really done a album. So he said, I'll produce the album, da 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 da. So as time passed, I said, okay, let's get to work. And he goes, well, you know, it's going to cost you $750 per track, and that unless you put my name next to yours as the artist.
Oh, wow.
Now, this was all of a sudden a flip side. And I was like, thank you so much. And that was the last we'd spoken. I'm not mad. I just knew what I was not going to do. And that was, I was not going to let him hijack my album.
Yeah.
So I was talking to Frankie on the phone and he said, baby girl, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you just ask me to do your album? Why would you even go over there?
Yeah.
I was like, because you're Frankie Knuckles.
Yeah,
He said, oh, please. He said, I'm your brother. You can ask me anything. I was like, would you do it? He said, of course. He said, matter of fact, hang up. I'm going to call you back. Hung up. He sent me a track. He said, did you get a chance to listen to the track? And I said, yeah. He said, what do you think? I said, it's amazing. I said, hang up. Let me call you back. Hung up. I had this song that I had written called Let's Stay Home. I adjusted it and manipulated it and then sang it in the on my GarageBand and sent it right back to him. He calls and goes, oh, this is it. We got to do this. We got to do this. So he refined the track and then I properly recorded the vocals. And that's how that came about. And he said, you might as well I'll do your album and da-da-da-da-da. So we got like 6 songs in before he passed away. So we still have material that Frankie and I and the great Eric Cupper has produced. But we have not released it yet. So
I think Let's Stay Home was my official coronavirus anthem, because it was like, let's stay home. That's the jam. If you're going to stay home, that's the jam.
Right.
Just stay home too.
Exactly.
And I will petition for it to be, if there's hopefully there won't be a second wave of coronavirus, but should that happen, that should be the official anthem of Let's Stay Home.
I agree, because it's the good side of staying home.
That's
you know what I mean?
It makes you feel good. It makes you feel good and take off the worries. Yes, absolutely. Now, speaking of house music, myself, I've been, as I mentioned before, when I thought my debut album was going to be just purely R&B, but it turned out my first few singles were house songs, and I've continued to release house music since then. And what's interesting working in this business, and I guess that's just music in general, or just a human being in general, to always have an opinion about this and that, and especially within the house community, because you have very different varieties of house sounds. Some might argue that this is house and that's dance and this and that. How do you categorize it, or what is your opinion about house versus dance? How do you even what is your thoughts about these different subgenres or definitions?
Well, it's all under the dance umbrella, which is a very broad umbrella. House music, as it was told to me, it originated at the Warehouse in Chicago, which is what it's told to me. So that's where we get house. That's music was played at the Warehouse, at the house. And it was a variety of music, but it was played there. And then it became this certain style of music that had that 4 to the floor feel that was coming out of there and out of New York. And I think now we have dance, we have house, and then we have types of house. Everything branches off. Yeah. You know, it's grown up. It's a big tree. Dance is the giant tree. And then there are just a lot of branches, because EDM, which is electronic dance music, when you think about it, house music is also electronic dance music. Yeah. But we have made EDM into a genre because of the way a lot of it sounds. It's a way to group that sound.
Yeah.
House music is a bit harder to group because we have soulful house, we just
Yes.
have house, we have tech house, we have garage, we have, there's a lot under
Afro
the house
house,
umbrella.
Afro house as well, gospel
Yeah,
house. Yeah.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there are a lot of subgenres to
Mm-hmm.
house. So I at first was very a house music elitist. That's not house music. It's not really. Now, call it what you want,
Yeah.
as long as it's good.
Yeah.
To me, house music is soulful to me. It's four to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's tribal. It's circuity. As long as it's that
Yeah.
feeling to me, it's house. That's my opinion. And I don't think we have to be such sticklers about it. Just keep making the best music you can make, and the rest take care of itself.
Amen. And at the end of the day, it's music, and music is supposed to unite us, and especially on the dance floor. Yes,
Yes.
we have different preferences and this and that, and people want to put things in boxes, but at the end of the day, it's really a feeling, right? And it's about a
Exactly.
unifying medium that's supposed to bring us together and not fight over labels.
Yeah, to nitpick. It's
Nitpick.
just like with people. It's like, oh, you go to church? I'm Catholic. Oh, I'm Baptist. Oh, we don't. No, you're all Christians, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
One of the things that like normally I would be in Ibiza like next month, but obviously we can't during the COVID. I'm not even sure I'll be traveling to Ibiza this year. But one thing, when I first was introduced to house music, for me personally, I felt that it was one of the music styles that could really take you to church, because it's really music in itself can take you to spiritual heights no matter which genre. But I don't know about you, but sometimes being on a dance floor where people are totally free dancing together, that is almost like a church moment, a spiritual moment, and
Yes,
that's
it
what
is.
house music can do, isn't it?
It's the closest. It's the closest that many people will get to church.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Another one of your current singles. This one seems to be a little bit. Now we spoke about different subgenres, but this one sounds a little bit deeper, which is your single "Alone." Should we have a listen to "Alone"? Yes.
Yes, and it actually came out of a song called "When I'm Alone" that we
Mm-hmm.
released a couple of years ago. And then Gabri Venus came to me and said, I want to re-release it and do it a different way. Let's call it Alone 2020. Let's change it and rock it that way. And I was like, bet. And who knew? Now it's in the charts in the UK, in Music Week. It's like crazy.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, children out there, here is Inaya Day's "Alone."
Ain't got time to see your eyes were showing all my love. Ain't got time to feel you're gonna be my man no more. Do you remember you said that you take me up and you be there? Hey, you lied to your baby. Now I know I'm free when I'm alone. When I'm alone. When I'm alone. I'm free.
20 seconds.
Do you remember you said that you take me up and you be there? Do you remember you said that you take me up and you be there? Do you remember you said that you take me up and you be there? Do you remember you said that when I'm alone?
Yes, ma'am. "Alone." I was up in the club. I was like the strobe, like dimmed lights, and yes, going in. I love that track. I love that track. Um,
Thanks.
there's a quote I heard you say which I really like, and it says something like sitting in your comfort zone makes it really hard for you to grow, and it seems like you're never sitting in your comfort zone. So what is next for Miss Inaya Day? What is the future like for Miss Inaya Day?
Well, I noticed that, well, for a long time, covers have really, they have always prevailed.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at old classic songs, everybody made the same song within a year of one another.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but I decided to do a project by one artist,
Mm-hmm.
one veteran artist who is amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm almost done with that project. And
Yee!
a couple of the songs are house, but some are ballads, some are. So I'm looking forward to that because it's still, I guess you can call it an album. It's gonna be like 7 songs or something like that. I've never done a project over 7 songs,
Mm-hmm.
so this is going to reflect my regular mode of operation.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing that. The Madam Corona has
Yes.
slowed that down a bit, but I'm about to pick it back up because at least now I can go into a one-man studio and properly finish it up because I've done all the vocals except one song.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got to get it there and mix it up right. And I know it's going to be dope.
Yay! Get the baby ready for the world. Speak.
Yes. Outside of that,
Mhm.
I just wanted to say that Sydney Pride has picked up my song with Greg Gould, Love
Yes.
Like This,
Yes.
for their and then today,
Mm-hmm.
well, last night to me, but today to them, we got the news that it'll be live streamed for Global Pride as well.
Wow.
And millions of people are going to get to see us do our live performance
Yay!
streaming online this weekend.
Yes, ma'am. I want our guys. We are gonna see that at the end of the show. But I just want to interject a song that has that I have danced to many a time because we came from you saying covers, and this is one of the best ever remakes, which I believe made you the only artist perform at the British Top of the Pops as the only artist twice in a week. Is that correct? It's called.
Yes, because they were airing on Sundays and
Yeah.
they were about to go out. So they switched them to Fridays.
Yeah.
So I did Sunday. I came home. They called my agent and said, we need Inaya back. I had to fly right back to the UK and film again on Friday.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Everybody, I just want to please, we need to get some nasty up in here. So this is Inaya Day's amazing remake of the purple one. Since it is June, it's still Prince's month, right? Yes.
Yes.
Here it is, a little snippet of.
That's right, pleased to meet you. Still don't wanna tell you my name. Don't you believe in mystery? Don't you wanna play my game? I'm looking for a man to love me like I've never been loved before. I'm looking for a man that'll do it anywhere, even on a limousine floor. Tonight, I'm living in a fantasy, my own little nasty world. Tonight, don't you wanna come with me? Do you think I'm a nasty girl? Tonight, I'm living in a fantasy, my own little nasty world. Tonight, don't you wanna come with me? Do you think I'm a nasty girl?
Yes! Amazing. I love that track. Oh my God. I've danced. I have so much memories with this song because, yeah, I've danced all around the world to this song. Amazing.
Thank you.
Before we show, I want to tell people where to find you. I'm just gonna pull up your links, so I hope people can still hear this. Yes. So on Facebook, you are Inaya Day Music, and everywhere else on the internet, she is Inaya Day. Inaya Day. Very easy. So please, everybody, please show your love, support, and follow Inaya Day's journey because it's definitely a soaring one that will keep you inspired and on your toes because that's how Inaya Day rolls. Because of Facebook, we have to end soon or else this broadcast will not be saved. And I know you're busy the way that you're spitting out songs. You need to get back to your New York life. But before we hear this, the last song of yours, which you just mentioned, is the official Pride song of Sydney. I want to ask Miss Inaya Day, what would you like your legacy to be?
I would like my legacy to be kindness, love, and wonderfully great music. That's it.
That's it. That's it. And that's all we need. And that is what you're giving us and more. Miss
Thank
Inaya
you.
Day. I
I'm trying.
No, you are. I thank you. I thank you so much for being part of this and sharing with the kids out there your amazingly inspiring story. I know it's inspired me tremendously throughout the years, and I just wish you continued love and success, happiness, joy, and keep inspiring us with your powerful voice. Um,
Thank you.
and guys out there, would you please send us off with this last video of yours,
I
and what it means to you, because it's written by a very special family member of yours, right?
Yes. This next song is actually co-written by my brother Sean and Faith Evans. Love Like This. I know we've all heard it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, dun, 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 the lick from Chic. Chic,
Yes.
Chic. That's where that lick comes from. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. At the end of this video, you see a dedication. When you watch it online, you can see a dedication to my brother Sean. See us both sharing a microphone on stage, a little photo.
Mm-hmm.
But this song means a lot to me because of that. He passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, this is the month that he passed away, on June 29th.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2009. So we celebrate him instead of lamenting. We are happy that he was here and that we were blessed to have him for as long as we had him. And we celebrate him this month with this song, Love Like This. It's on Greg Gould's album. He asked me to sing it with him, and I'm so happy. He didn't even know that I had a relationship with the song.
Really?
So
Wow.
he just asked me out of the blue
Wow.
on Instagram if I would do a duet with him, and he's thinking, maybe Love Like This. And I was like, am I being punked?
A
You know
sign
what I
from
mean?
heaven. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was just definitely divine intervention. So I'm glad that we did it. And this is Love Like This.
And one last interjection. You don't know this,
Yeah.
but when I first moved to New York, Sean, he was always so nice to everybody. And I briefly after I met him, he gave me my very first gig. It was during his time of. It was during a rough time in his life where he couldn't do it. So he was like, Andy, would you want to go with a bunch of singers and including Mike Hammond out there? So if you're watching Mike Hammond, we had the
Yes.
time of our lives flying from New York City to Istanbul, Turkey, and that was because of Sean giving me my first gig after landing in New York City. So much love to him and to you, Inaya Day. Thank you again. I hope you want to do this another time and keep us posted on your
Yes.
next projects. I love you. I love what you stand for. You're inspirational always. Stay happy, healthy, joyful, and everybody out there, stay tuned because I'll be back again next week. Show some love for the legendary voice in house music, Miss Inaya Day. Love to everybody.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you. Here's love like this before. Ciao, everybody.
Now that we have come to be a brand new light I can see. Never thought you'd be a special part of me.
The reasons are because of you. I can go on and make it through. I can't even take my mind off loving you. And I just wanna say,
I never knew there was a love like this before.
love like this before, no.
Never had someone to show me a love, love like this before.
I know you can't see the things you mean to me. I'm so amazed that you are mine. Yeah, 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 yeah.
If we can work together, maybe this will last forever. This is something that I wanna hold on to. So baby, try to understand. I'll be crazy if you leave. And I like the way you walk, the sexy things you talk. You don't know just what you do to me. Oh, I never knew there was a love like this before. A love like this before. Never had someone to show me a love. A love like this before. I never knew there was a love like this before. A love like this before. I never knew someone to show me a love like this before. Never knew never knew never knew love like this before. Never knew love like this love like this before. I never knew there was a love like this before. A love like this before. Never had someone to show me a love. Never had a love like this. I never knew there was a love like this before. A love like this before. No. Never had someone to show me a love. Love like this before. I never knew there was a love like this before. Never had someone to show me love. A love like this before.